Hey guys, what's going on? Ghost Dragon 1182 here, back for another coffee talk, and in this one I want to talk about the Assassin's Creed Syndicate PC port. Uh, Not really getting into the quality of the game so much as the performance of the game, which I'm going to admit shocked me. It runs really well on my computer. I knew there was going to be some concessions to some of the settings because I didn't have quite the horsepower when it comes to the processor, but not as many as I thought I was going to have to make. But it runs really, really good compared to games in the past. Like, I didn't even touch Unity because of the horrors that I read on in different news articles about the PC port of that game. And I have Black Flag, and it ran okay, but it took a lot of tweaking to get it to run okay. And because when I first went with the settings, like the ultra settings, it just ran like dog shit, and there was no reason that it should have ran that bad because I have a 780 Ti and a i5-3570K, and there was no reason for Assassin's Creed Black Flag to run the way that it did on my hardware. But Syndicate was a game that I've been interested in, and I wanted to get it on PC because I wanted to play it on. That's just my preferred platform when given the option. And I was kind of nervous for a while, but I'd read that it ran pretty solidly, so it was on sale. I picked it up on Green Man Gaming for like half the price of what it normally retails for. I installed it and fired it up, and it runs damn good. I got everything maxed out except for a couple settings, and it's given me a pretty solid experience. Now, I'm not like real far into the game or anything like that. I went through the first mission, played as both Jacob and Evie, and I just arrived in London. Ran around London a little bit to make sure there wasn't like any performance dips because of having the extra buildings and everything like that in the characters on screen, and it still ran really well. So I was surprised, and I'm glad it runs really well because I played Unity for a little bit. It came with my Xbox One, and I couldn't get into it. It just didn't grab me like previous games in the series did. I'm not saying it's a bad game per se. I plan on revisiting it. I actually picked it up during the Steam sale because I wanted Rogue, and Rogue was like $29 on, or no, I think Rogue was $29 on sale or something like that. But you could get Rogue. No, Rogue wasn't even on sale at the time, but Rogue was $29, and for $35 you could get Rogue and Unity. So I was like, fuck it, for the extra $5-6, I'll give it a shot. And I did mess around with Unity a little bit to see how it performed, and it actually performed pretty good on my hardware, better than I expected. So I don't know how much they fixed it up since it released, but the bit that I played up until about the same part that I had reached on the Xbox One, and I didn't have any issues. Stayed pretty consistent. I think my lowest dip was to like 57 or 58 frames a second. Assassin's Creed's a series that I played the first one, and I liked it, but the first one was kind of ho hum. As far as it's just a little repetitive. I really, so far, I'd still say two's probably my favorite in the series, followed by maybe four. But these are games that I they they're such big open world games that Ubisoft shouldn't try to annualize these games because they're not giving the games or the developers enough time to properly optimize them. And like, I think that was the biggest problem with Unity is they were going to that was the first game that really they tried to utilize a new version of the engine, deal with new hardware, and try to push the boundaries, and they just didn't give them enough time to do that. And it's a shame because I think it's a solid franchise. It has had a few missteps. Like, I wasn't a big fan of 3. Unity so far hasn't really impressed me. Syndicate, I think I might have some fun with. The bits that I played have grabbed me to the point where I want to see where the story goes. But I think it wouldn't hurt Ubisoft to take a year off from releasing an Assassin's Creed game, kind of work on tightening up the story, because really it's a fucking mess now. Like, I don't think they had any idea where they were going to go after 3, and then they were just like throwing some ideas at the wall to see what would stick. But overall, it's a franchise that, as a whole, I've enjoyed. And I hope Syndicate kind of brings that back up to where I would like to see the series go from here as far as quality. So we'll see. Once I finish the game, I may go back and talk about my thoughts on it. But, if it can kind of come up to that quality of like 2, Black Flag, and, I liked Revelations and Brotherhood too. But those were, like, as long as they kind of stay away from the missteps of 3. Like, 3's biggest misstep was just Connor wasn't, like, I didn't care for him as a protagonist. Just didn't, I don't know. Coming off of a protagonist like Ezio, you can't throw someone in there like Connor. I just didn't feel like he was a likable protagonist. They kind of rectified that with Edward Kenway in 4. He's kind of like, he don't give a fuck. He wasn't there to like save the world at first, and his character arc was, he actually had a fully developed character arc throughout the course of that game, whereas I kind of felt like Connor didn't. And I'm very curious to see how Rogue plays. That's a little bit of a different take on the series, I think. So that's another one in the series I'm looking forward to playing. But Syndicate, I really want to go through and play it from beginning to end, but I kind of feel like I should at least play and finish Unity, but we'll see what happens. But it's a lot of fun. The controls are a little bit different than what I'm used to in an Assassin's Creed game. That kind of took me a minute to get used to with the free run up, free run down, and stuff like that. But so far, it's once I got the hang of it, then it felt pretty fluid. The controls in Assassin's Creed games, or not so much the controls, but like the free running aspect of Assassin's Creed games have always had that little bit of stupidity to them as far as the engine works. You got to anticipate when the engine's going to do something retarded, and then kind of compensate for it. But if it seems like it's not as present, but we'll see where it goes. But so far, like I said, Assassin's Creed Syndicate is running rather well on my rig. I'm not recording it to make videos like a playthrough series or anything like that. I may record bits and pieces here and there just to have some background imagery for videos like coffee talks and stuff like that. But overall, as long as it stays solid, I think I'm in for a good time, and I really hope it lives up to the expectation that I now have for it after playing it for a few hours, and we'll see where it goes from there. But if you guys, please try to stay spoiler free. If any of you have played the game on console, does it stay solid? Like, is the quality pretty consistent throughout the whole game, or does it just like fucking plummet halfway through and I should set myself up from disappointment or anything like that? Let me know. I'm not opposed to that. Just don't tell me what happens with the story. Saying things like, well, you might be disappointed with the story, that's fine. Just don't give me any story details. But like always, guys, I want to thank y'all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. All right? Have a good one.